Welcome to Ugly Oysters. This video is one of a series of discussions based on Jordan Peterson's book, Beyond Order. Today's topic is related to the first chapter of his book, entitled Overture. I have posted timestamps below if you wish to locate anything specific, and I hope you enjoy the view while considering these important ideas for our lives.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about what?
Jordan Peterson.
Okay, so...
And I'm looking forward to this, by the way. I think this is a really good topic.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, well, just these days, I've been enjoying a lot of the information that Jordan Peterson has put out online.
Mm-hmm.
I think his life is interesting.
I also watch lots of his interview. He was interviewed by people. Also, he interviewed other people. Seems he is energetic.
And I feel he's doing something, like, I think we're observing in history the establishment of a new, in academic circles, they call it a node. It's like a new source of gravity for a whole bunch of information. Just like when Sigmund Freud started publishing things, just like when Carl Jung started publishing things, we have these different psychologists who really made an impact on their society. I think Jordan Peterson is making his claim, and he's going to be in that list of psychologists that you go back to again and again and again. And people are going to study him. People are going to quote him. They're going to base their whole practice on his work.
So you think he will take a position on a psychology history? Like he will be some phenomenon, or he will be like a noticeable, like a milestone for something,
What's happening with Jordan Peterson right now?
Yeah, kind of. It's a phenomenon now.
It's historical.
Like he's everywhere. Like everyone gonna interview him.
It's historical, and he knows it.
He is knowing it.
Yeah, he knows it. I just watched a video last night where.
I see.
And the interviewer even asked him, "Did you want this?" He said yes.
So, and behind, what do you see behind this phenomenon? Like, why people are so interested in listening him talking for 2 and 3 hours? What's there? What is the majority the people want from him?
Well, several things. Otherwise, I don't think he'd have such an audience.
Yeah, what it is. He represents what? What kind of a Jews is it represent and the people are seeking,
Well, in another interview I heard, the interviewer suggested that Jordan Peterson has found himself in the middle of a cultural war. So there's a struggle in our culture over...
Over what?
Well, probably several matters, and I'm not familiar with all of them.
Yes.
My touchstone, the way I come into it is, I've grown up under the burden of feminism, and that has distorted my life as a white male in my culture. And he's pushing back on it. He's saying, this is damaging.
That's why he was called sexist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so he's in that place where many, many people love him and many, many people hate him. And that's an image of the person who's standing the line between two sides. He's drawing a line in the middle, and this is creating a lot of enemies and it's creating a lot of friends. And it just shows that there's something there.
I see. So, impersonally, what you feel like Jordan Peterson will bring to you? Like, why you watch Jordan Peterson's interviews or read his books or investigate who he is? What's there? Just because you feel he can take away the burden on you about the feminism stuff?
Originally, that was the attraction.
Okay.
That was the thing that caught my attention. And I saw a couple of his famous interviews. He did an interview with GQ magazine, which is very famous. He did an interview with Channel 4 something in England, which is quite famous. Like, everybody knows about these interviews. And I found those interviews to be very empowering. Not just empowering, but affirming of what I'd always thought and believed. And he just bringing the facts and the logic to it. You know, my thinking maybe was a little more foggy around these issues. His is very precise and very challenging.
But
But
he kind of gave you some of the strengths that you can resist the burden or resist something you don't want.
The evidence and the reasoning. He provides the evidence and he provides the reasoning, and I just gobbled it up. But I can't say that that's why I'm interested in Peterson. I've already taken that and said to myself, that's good, so I'm not wrong. And now I'm moving on, you know. I never have been interested in fighting this feminism issue. I don't want to battle. It's not, I'm not trying to have winners and losers. So that's kind of done for me. What
it's like he make it clear about all of the vague things.
Yeah, and just the fact that there's somebody there making it clear gives me comfort. It just means if I encounter
you're
this,
not wrong.
Yeah, and if I encounter this in the future, well, then maybe I'll go back to it and get that reasoning, you know. But in my heart, I already know I'm good. It's just I just wanted some affirmation.
Kind of you find the legitimacy, like for you to live as a white man in this society.
Yeah, I just it's like
there is no like this original thing on your back because you are a white man.
Yeah, if he were to speak to me in my imagination, he would say, "Don't worry, you're all right. I understand. That's all I need. That's it.
Yeah.
Now I can move on."
Yeah.
I don't need to know the arguments. I don't need to fight the arguments. I just need to know I wasn't wrong.
So you think white people really need that kind of thing? Like, why you so much care about I'm not wrong?
Because I'm not interested in winning battles. I'm not interested in gaining power. What I'm interested in is relationships.
Yeah.
And if I think I'm failing in the relationship somehow, then I feel bad. But when I search my heart and I search my motives and I search my actions, I don't think I'm doing wrong. So why do I seem to create all this hurt? And Jordan Peterson's just telling me, you're not. This is not your battle. This is something else, and you can just let it go if you're not interested in fighting it. You live your life. And yeah.
So like it's kind of give you a right, like you can live your life without the burden, like lightly to be who you are.
Yeah, it prevents me
like,
from
you don't be you don't like carry the original like thing like the cross from the beginning when you are born. You feel that way, right?
Yeah. I don't feel like I'm carrying the cross. I feel like I'm the nail that's injuring everyone else. I'm the nail.
I see.
I'm the white guy, the bad white guy who's bringing pain to everyone.
I see.
And he's saying to me, no, you're not. You're okay.
Yeah. You're just being vague by all of the teaching or talking in the society. This is what he is talking to you?
I don't even need to know the arguments. I just need to know that someone with good arguments is saying, you're not bad. You're fine.
Okay.
But so that was my attraction to him. That's not why I like him now.
So why you liking him now?
Yeah, so why I like him now is a bigger issue. I just think I feel I'm similar to him. And I also think my brother is similar to him. In that we like to sort things out very carefully so that we can live life well. And I think
kind of you need a map. I've heard Jordan Peterson write a book, kind of a map of life or life of map.
Maps of meaning.
So kind of you need a map to live your life like properly or decently or authentically.
Yeah, well, in anything you do. So, for example, I was a teacher. I don't want to just do my job. I want to teach to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And so I think through details that sometimes I don't even see my colleagues thinking through, like...
I got that.
Yeah.
Like you touch the fundamental.
Yeah, I want to get to the fundamentals of it, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, that's why I went as far as a doctoral degree, like, it's like pursuing these things very carefully. And, I never was just a 8:30 to 4:30 teacher. I always took my job very seriously. But that's how I do all of my life. Like, I want to do everything well.
Don't want to be vague. Don't want to say, oh, it's okay,
Yeah, you've mentioned vague several times.
Because, like in our culture, there is always say, smart people, will accept the vague, we don't need to learn this living the vague, kind of don't pay attention to sort out right or wrong, like living in the vague is kind of a smart. It seems like you, Jordan Peterson, or some other people, they really care about the very clear cut about right and wrong.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. You're talking about the vague, and maybe that's your culture thing. That's not what comes to my mind immediately. It's not about vague or clear.
I see.
It's more about caring.
I see.
And care to know what's real. And...
yeah, okay. Care to know what's real.
Yeah. And what I see in Jordan Peterson is that same desire. He will take something and he won't be satisfied with the first answer that comes along. Or even the second and third answer. He will wrestle with it and wrestle with it and wrestle with it until he can say, aha, this makes sense. It brings everything together. Everything, including he brings in mythology and he brings in popular culture and he just presents it in a unity. And a good philosopher, that's what a good philosopher does. They draw everything together and present a way of interpreting it.
Yeah, like it's have meaning.
Yeah, right. And that is what I have spent my entire life seeking, is meaning. And that's...
Because meaning, in another word, is also how you explain the world you're around. Like in the physics world, Einstein always also said that I'm just like a kid to play around the the beach, then I got some seashells, but still these seashells can explain something to him about the physical world. So make it clear, meaningful to him. From different dimension. Like Jordan Peterson, he from this dimension to understand the world more.
Yeah.
At least on this areas he was interested in, he find more more clear explanation of the world he is living in.
Yeah. And I think I just suddenly had this thought too, that meaning is what distinguishes us from machines. Machines don't have any meaning, they just have procedures. And meaning is what distinguishes us from the animals. They just have impulse. But meaning is interpreting all those things. And yeah, so I think he's more than a psychologist, even though I said he'll probably be in that list with Jean Piaget and Carl Jung and, you know, all these people, Freud. I also think he's going to go in the list of philosophers. Like he's basically becoming, like when I interviewed for my master's program, they asked you if you could ever meet one person in your life in all of history, who would you like to meet? And I said Da Vinci. And they said, why? And I said, because he's a polyglot. He knows a little bit of everything about everything.
Yeah.
And he brings it all together.
Yeah, he's the genius.
Yeah. And I'm putting Peterson more in that category. And for a long time, I regretted that our society doesn't seem to be producing these kind of people.
Yeah, like it's all like a very narrow,
Yeah.
you know, this major
Yeah.
professor, that major professor.
Yeah.
It's all joined together. Yeah, Da Vinci is the one who really, you know, powerful and seems every dimension he is the genius.
And I've always aspired to be that way myself without maybe being so great as him. But I just mean, I don't want to exclude any part of life out. I want it all to fit together, and I don't want to put all my weight on any one thing, you know?
Yeah, right. So it's like the whole life, you know?
Yeah.
The whole life thinking.
Yeah, life thinking.
Yeah, it's not like a, you know, section of the life. Yeah, but Peterson gave you this feeling?
Yeah, so now I'm elevating him, okay? I'm saying why I like him. But see. Also there are things about him I already am not real totally with him on, you know? So, like, one of the things he talks about a lot as kind of the foundation of his thinking is he uses chaos and order as a kind of dualism or as a binary for his basic understanding.
Like white and black.
Like white and black. Now, I like him because he uses that as a base for his understanding. Yes. Because in my doctoral research, I also used that as a base for my understanding. I think it's a fundamental aspect of our lives that there is the ordered world and there is the disordered world. But even the way that is said indicates how you understand those two things. For him, it's order and chaos. The way that's said, obviously order is good. Chaos is dangerous. But when I think chaos, I think that's a good thing. You want to have chaos in your life, you know? But he shades it with a kind of negativity. For me, the way I frame it is art and science. Art is free, science is ordered and logical and procedural and objective. For me, these two worlds need to coexist. It's right brain, left brain. It's our fundamental way of interpreting the world, and we have to have both of them. And even the title of his new book, Beyond Order, he's saying it's order plus. it's for him, he kind of stands on the side of order, I think. And even like this, I think this book is supposed to be about the chaos. But he's bringing 12 more rules. You know, like, that's still holding everything in the rational side.
It's kind of like in the chaos, he got like he needs something like can hold on. Otherwise, he can get like totally lost.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't want to be abandoned on the chaos side of life. He needs to stand on his ordered side. And the difference between Peterson and me is that all my life I stood on the chaos side. I believed in the openness, the creative, the kind of like in my doctoral dissertation, my advisor said to me that I was the iconoclastic leader. I was the one who wants to break all the established images of what a good leader is. And that's my way of being a leader. Because I feel comfortable on that chaos side. That's where I put my feet. That's my base. And I spent 20 years in education trying to learn the ordered side with great reluctance, with mistrust, not believing that there is value in all these rules. So, and here we are. 12 rules for life and 12 more rules for life, you know? Peterson is bringing the rules. And the thing is, I've come to value rules, but I value them from the side of chaos. I want to embrace both as good. And where I think I am not quite on with Peterson. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's this way. Like, for example, do you know like Chinese, the famous leader Mao Zedong, the first generation leader like for New China?
I've heard of him.
Okay, like a Chairman Mao, we call him.
I think I've even called my son Chairman Mao a few times.
Okay.
You little Chairman Mao.
So, you know, he is kind of the person who really believe, you know, you know why? Do you know Chinese Revolution, like a Chinese Cultural Revolution, like a 10 years period? Everything in chaos that time.
So I just know about it. I'm an ignorant Westerner, and I don't know.
It's okay. Like so, the reason he want to have this the Cultural Revolution is he believe the big chaos can create the big order. Like he want to like smash all of the thing existing, which in order, but he think limited life, like limited. Then he want to break all of thing, then build up the new thing, you know. So he is the person who is get used to, or he is okay because he is strong enough, to be in the chaos. But the thing is, in this issue, I will feel like not everyone has his mind. Not everyone has the strongness of the chaos. That's why I just basically think no one gets what he wants. So that's why he is the leader, kind of detached from the ground. So that make, you know, this cultural revolution. It's in the good purpose, you know. It actually he wanted to a bigger picture for Chinese people, better picture for Chinese people. Well, as long as everyone understands him, but very pity no one understands. So then it becomes the real chaos and without any order actually. Then people just tired of it and disappointed of it and think. So this I think this is what Jordan Peterson maybe, if he was put into the totally chaos thing, he will lost and he can't give any good, you know, introduction or good talking speech in, you know, to others. So that's why maybe in the chaos he still need to have the rules to hold on to make this thing together.
Yeah.
So somehow I think the chaos life and the order life should be learned to cooperate together.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me is bringing together art and science. Like if Peterson wanted to convey the chaos side, he'd have to write poetry or stories.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He can't use all this rationality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe this is the next challenge for him. I also find it on this page like he seems to have some talking. It's on this. Do you
Oh
mind?
yeah.
Do you mind? You can read it. Actually.
On
It's
the introduction,
yeah.
it's page XXII, Roman numerals 22.
Yeah, I think it's this.
Yeah, the section's called the Overture. Okay, the
Yeah.
sentence, because this is just for
It
people
starts
who are
from
listening.
the paragraph like I do not believe.
Okay, I'll read it.
Okay.
I do not believe I have ever claimed, in my previous book, or indeed this one, that it would be necessarily sufficient to live by the rules I have presented. I think what I claimed, what I hope I claimed, was this. When you are visited by chaos and swallowed up, when nature curses you, or someone you love with illness, or when tyranny rends asunder something of value that you have built, it is salutary to know the rest of the story. All of that misfortune is only the bitter half of the tale of existence, without taking note of the heroic element of redemption or the nobility of the human spirit requiring a certain responsibility to shoulder. We ignore that addition to the story at our peril, because life is so difficult that losing sight of the heroic part of existence could cost us everything. We do not want that to happen. We need instead to take heart and to take spirit and to look at things carefully and properly and to live the way that we could live.
Yeah. So like he was experiencing this chaos, and it seems he has the attitude to willing to take the risk or something. The attitude is there.
So he introduces his whole book just explaining in detail the chaos he was experiencing. His wife was experiencing, he was experiencing, his daughter was experiencing, and all three of them were facing the ultimate chaos of death itself, the complete destruction of their existence. So, but he's framing chaos as danger from the outset. He's not framing chaos as attractive for any reason. And this is why I differ from Peterson. Chaos is not always the thing that eats you.
Right.
It's a place where goodness comes as well. That's where creativity comes from. Creativity's outside of that ordered place. And it doesn't have to be framed by the rules.
Yeah, I understand. Like if you have the rules, actually there is no creativity.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm attracted to the rules. Why? Because it's very practical world stuff. And I'm not very good, being kind of the artist mind, I'm not very good at that practical thinking stuff. And he's quite good at it. And he uses enough of the creative world to help shape my understanding. I don't say he's only standing in the ordered world, the world of rules. I think he also has reached into the creative world. But he's not standing there. I think he doesn't like it in some ways. To me, he's the guy who's reaching to heaven with a ladder. The ladder of rationality.
So that's basically your impression of him.
Yeah, right now. And I haven't read the whole book. I've just
Uh-huh.
read the introduction along with you, so I don't know what he's gonna say, but that's my attitude going into this book.
But he is a pretty amazing. Like he has this strong will.
Yes.
Like can going through so much suffering, you know.
Yes.
Almost, I think if it's another people, they're gonna just die,
Yes.
already.
Yes.
But he just can go through. So sometimes, you know, the rational people, they basically use a strong will to fight with the rational world. So this is kind of a quality on him, I think.
Yeah, and I believe.
But the thing is opposite of this kind of a strong will rational people, the vulnerable to be weak.
Yeah.
In front of the so-called, he said, nature or like illness or health, like about the chaos, like be vulnerable. You know, this is their weakness. So, but I also seems he is trying to learn that aspect of him. I saw he interviewed with Bishop, and he talking about like he has a series of interview about Christianity. You know, like I think he tried to using this reasoning way to get to, like you said, using the reasoning ladder
build
to
a
go
ladder
to
get to heaven. Yeah.
But I also think he was success maybe like C.S. Lewis is this way too.
It's kind of.
C.S. Lewis also used the rational way, you know, kind of
I think Lewis was different.
Really, but he also when he come to Christianity, he also using the reasoning way, you know, kind of felt no way to hide. Then he accept the truth of Christ.
To come to Christianity, yes.
Yeah.
But all his other writing was more
he has
like
other aspect like literature, you know.
Basically, he was talking from chaos. He was saying, "I've been to that paradise. I've tasted it. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like."
I see. So you think C.S. Lewis is like more two legs walking?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's more like two legs. But
so
I want
Peterson is more like a rational way. Just 1 minute. Just like so, you think like the reason Peterson will become the historical person in our history is because all our education right now is focused on rational way more.
Yeah.
So if Peterson, this kind of elite in the rational education area, will think the other chaos way is reasonable and valuable, then this will cause a lot of people, like kind of he is a leader all of this rational education results, people follow him to that aspect, that opposite river, right?
When I think how rational our culture is, I want to vomit. I don't mean that as an expression. I'm starting to feel it in my guts right now as we're talking. It probably, most people in our culture, if they think of living in the non-rational faith world, they would want to vomit. They'd feel so intimidated by it. And so exactly right. That's why Peterson is going to hit the nail with our culture, because he's so rational.
Yeah, and he is kind of the model of the rational world.
But he's not very vulnerable. I mean, he's been forced into vulnerability.
Yeah, right.
And
from
he didn't like it.
Yeah.
And on another video he had, you could see that he was starting to believe that Christ must be real, and that's as an outflow of his struggles.
Yeah.
He's very reluctant to want to accept that. His rational mind just really hesitant to accept.
That will become the obstacle for him to come to that heaven.
But there is another psychologist who I wish could be as famous as Peterson. His name is Gerald May. And Gerald May takes the path of vulnerability in his psychology. And he talks about the last book he wrote. I can't remember the title, but he talks about going and living alone in the forest.
Yeah.
And what that experience was like, the call of the wilderness, the call of the wild. And to me, Gerald May is talking about living in the chaos. and embracing it. And he talks about how when he finally went, he started thinking about bringing a gun with him. And then he knew he was losing it because he wanted to control his experience. He didn't want to be swallowed by the chaos, like Peterson says, when you're swallowed by the chaos. Peterson is making it sound like such a dangerous, scary thing. Gerald May was going into it on purpose to be framed by the chaos, not by the rules.
It's just because they live in different reality.
Yeah,
because to Gerald May, he may think the chaos is the reality, so he is not afraid of. Peterson is think rational is the reality, so that's unknown world. Oh my God, it's so scary.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love Peterson, but I don't want to be misunderstood. I think he's limited by his being just in the rational world, or primarily based in the rational world. But what makes him great is that he's able to at least see that there is this rational ordered side and there's this chaos side, and that this is fundamental.
I see.
It's basic. It's what, when I was in my doctoral program, we call this basic research, because there's not going to be any action you do as a result of it. It's just, it helps you frame your understanding of reality. There are these two things, chaos and order. It's like the yin and yang. Yeah. And I'm more on the Gerald May side of things. Standing there appreciating Jordan Peterson, who's on the rational side of things. But for me, for 20 years, I've tried to be more balanced. And I think Jordan Peterson will teach me more about life in a rational world. And I probably need that, because my base is more in the chaotic.
So like just now seems Jordan Peterson is more and more like a phenomenon in college, you know, like also lots of how to say, the new generation.
Yeah.
Kind of they kind of feel his worldview is kind of an old worldview, and they kind of not accept his way. How do you think about that? Like, do you notice about that? Like, it kind of he is the old paradigm, you know. Like he very high evaluate hierarchy, and he kind of be happy with marriage, you know. Like men have this and women have that. Man is disagreeable, woman is more agreeable, so women take care of kids better. This kind of a talking, I think he annoys the young generation. And that's caused lots of young generation think he is a sexist, racist, you know, like all the bad words on him. So it's kind of a block then to listen to what he really talk. So what's this phenomenon?
Well, I'm not sure, but the picture I have in my mind is Jordan Peterson is the big boat. And the big boat's moving forward. It's facing the waves. It's confronting what these other boats behind, the smaller boats, haven't faced yet. In fact, they get to follow behind him and say, "What's these waves? I didn't notice any waves." That's because Peterson's already smoothing the way for them. If you follow right behind the boat, it's a lot smoother than the waves that the boat is plowing through.
What that mean?
It's like he creates a kind of shelter for them, and then they...
Who is them?
The younger generation. And I don't mean just from his books or whatever. I mean...
I felt the younger generation, especially the female aspect, don't like him that much.
Okay.
So that, I mean, it's not they are sheltered by him.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of
want
to fight with him.
Let me say it a different way. I think, one, it's not true that the younger generation don't like him. He's got too many followers to say that.
Yes.
And it was a student of mine who introduced me to Jordan Peterson. I never knew anything about Jordan Peterson until this student told me.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard in interviews that, for example, YouTube is primarily a male audience, not a female. I mean, just YouTube generally. And also that Peterson tends to get 60%, 40%, 60% male, 40% female in his audiences. But he himself said it's not true that all women don't like him. Some women like him very much. But, I mean, his base is that he's a professor in a university where he's teaching young people, like young adults. And I think his following began there. I mean, that's primarily the people who object to him the most are the LGBTQ community, and not even all of them, but certain ones among them tend to think badly of him. And I don't know much about it. I don't know what to say about that.
Okay, doesn't matter then. So basically, we're going to continue to read this book and try to discover what it is there.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think there are interesting chapters. I mean, can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Like, I think it's interesting just to read the comments that are being made, like on the cover sleeve. For example, New York Times says, "The Peterson way is a harsh way, but it is an idealistic way, and for millions of young men it turns out to be the perfect antidote." Antidote. That means like if you get a snake bite, then it's the medicine to undo the snake bite. He says is the perfect antidote to the cocktail. That's like a drink when you mix things. What's mixed in the drink? Coddling. This is for men. Coddling, that means take care of so tenderly the men. And accusation. The mixture of coddling and accusation that men have been raised with.
Good. Yeah.
And the most influential public intellectual in the Western world right now. That's New York Times. The most influential public intellectual in the world right now. I think...
So we choose to write the book.
Yeah. I think it's true, and I'm excited about it. And so what are some of the chapter titles? I think it's worth looking at some of the chapter titles. Imagine who you could be and then aim single-mindedly at it. Don't hide unwanted things in the fog. Do not do what you hate.
Yeah.
You know, these are
it's so simple and it seems interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Work as hard as you possibly can on at least one thing. And see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah. I think these are really good. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for today.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to soon talk about next, like chapter 1. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. That's it for today. Come back and check out some of our other videos. Please put your comments below, hit like and subscribe with notifications if you wish to join in conversations with us on other topics.